Hi there, Dr. Sheep here. Welcome back. Actually, welcome back to another Farming Simulator 19 Let's Play. Episode 2 is 12:04, November 4th now. Technically the day after the election. I have no idea what has changed in the election since last time, but that's not why we're here. What we're here today is to just talk about Farming Sim, play Farming Sim, and just enjoy life. Now, I noticed there was one little spot over here that kept showing up. Oh, right here. Here it is. It's like a dip. There we go. It's gone now. There it was. I think it is. Yep, 15 is all good. Okay. So let's V. Turn that, get that up, done. Oh, drag this down here and begin the planting process. Yay! Whoops, forgot to silence that. Q. We are still in real time, which is basically like pausing the game, or pausing plant growth. Actually, that's what I want. Plant growth, normal, fast, back. That way we can get from one thing to the other. Now, I know Moose's Let's Play had a goal. I guess I should have a goal. My goal is to basically play this game until... Nope. Cancel. Oh, thank God. G. Nope, it's Y. Sunflowers, soybeans, sugar beets, cotton. Now we can hire a worker. And obviously I know he'll miss, or she, he, I guess, yeah. He'll miss a good portion of this. And I'll have to go back in and do that. But that's fine, because they won't travel at an angle. And I realized I should have done this off camera, because this is going to take significantly longer than I was imagining in my head. I don't know why I thought, oh, this will take like 3 seconds. Nope. That's not true at all. Oh boy. Okay. So how are you guys? I could just lean back and watch him farm. Nothing wrong with that. And I could always like delink the audio. Like, wow, he's gonna go and do that part of the field first. Okay, that's cool. Anyways, what do you guys think? What do you think of whomever the new president is? I was gonna say who, but I guess whatever. And what was I thinking about just before this? It was something important. I don't remember what it was. I really can't remember. I don't know what it was. Oh boy. There are some things in this world. Okay, so let's talk about Farming Sim for a second. The game is actually grindy. I'm gonna say that much. It's actually very grindy. I think you need to get $1 million as fast as possible. And honestly, I know a lot of people talk about, you know, every time they implement a new game mechanic. Like this season, it's for this version, it's horses, and horses do make a lot of money. Like each horse starts at 5,000 and at 50,000, and they literally just need oats, water, and hay and straw. Which the oats generates the straw. The hardest part is literally the hay. Even then, that's not that difficult to get. And to be fair, with this setup I just did, you could easily do it. You could easily do horses. And actually, with the early setup, you could potentially do horses as well. It's a little... Your challenging part is where you're going to put the horses. Do you sacrifice some field space and put horses there? Well, I guess actually you don't need to do that. I guess if you get rid of all the buildings, you can put horses there. You'll have to start off with like a low amount of horses, and you might have to take out a loan, but it's possible. And horses in this version, anyways, currently make a lot of money. And who knows? I have no idea what 21 is going to bring. I have no idea if it's going to be what the new thing's going to be. I think one of the crops they're missing right now is alfalfa and peanuts. Where are they? I mean, alfalfa is more important than peanuts. And I guess I'm going to talk about this in the podcast with Buck. So I guess I should share my opinions for that. I've already shared 2 of my ideas. And actually, let me know. Let's talk about realism in this game. Again, I'm just jumping back and forth between ideas. And it's a simulator. So yes, realism needs to be very on point. But at the same time, it's a video game. And realistically playing farming is not fun. It's a job. Farming is a job. This is a video game. You should have fun with it. You know, don't make it a job. Now, obviously, as a YouTuber, it would be a job. And funny enough, what if you... I don't know how you would do this. But I guess somebody who does just vanilla, maybe with some mods to add some other stuff that you just can't get, like seasons. But with mods, you could potentially, well, even just vanilla, you could potentially just do farming sim, and you could say you are a farmer, but you're a YouTuber making farming videos. And actually, something I'm working on with Will is something that Tom brought up to me. If you don't know who Tom is, I do a podcast. He was my first guest in a podcast, and I did a podcast with him. And I didn't discuss this on the podcast. This was, just in passing. I popped into his office one day, update. Like, it was literally because I'm for one of the classes I'm in. This is like my business I'm starting, this YouTube thing. And so I went in. Every 3 weeks I give an update on how the channel's doing, what my plans are, what I'm doing, how I'm going about addressing these things. Which actually I need to email somebody I was working with to see if she was too busy or whatever got back to me. Anyways, right. So, and Tom was talking that people like to see how blue collar workers, how that whole thing works, because like farming is more popular than I would think it should be. And he was like, well, some of the new, like one of the freshmen they just got, she's from, I think, New Jersey? I don't remember, but she comes from a dairy, and they made a YouTube channel about their dairy farm. I think he said Dairy Sisters, but I looked up Dairy Sisters. They didn't pop up. But anyways, they have 400,000 subscribers, whatever her channel is. And it's split between her and her sisters. And I was just like, why would you bother to get an education? I know why you should get an education. And kids, don't drop out of school to become a YouTuber. Get an education. But I was just like, why? You don't need, and like, the program I'm in is to teach about entrepreneurship. I'm like, but it's more of a startup and less of a how to run a business. They do some, like, they do some teaching about how to run a business. It's very little, but there is some. So, but it's not extensive. Actually, it's more hands-on than, say, maybe the business college. Which their whole thing should be, business. How they run, how they work. I think a business major would be more focused on like how businesses work from a math perspective and less of a people perspective. And then business management or like franchise management, that would be more of the realm of this is how a business runs. And then if you get the entrepreneurship, this is how you start a business and how to deal with something like that. And so I think her getting this minor in ag business entrepreneurship is kind of pointless because there are other better options for her talent and what she's been able to do. Now, Grant, this is her sisters are also included in this channel. So I say she's the talent, but I don't know. I actually have no idea. She might not be the talent. And actually, I need to talk to Tom, see if he can send me her channel name, because I'd love to take a look at it. But how? But when Tom told me about them and how they got these subscribers, I had this light bulb in my head. I don't live on a farm anymore, and I don't really intend to ever go live back on a farm. But speaking of what I plan to do after college, I'll get into that in a minute. But the dairy, so I had this light bulb in my head. I'm like, oh my god, I don't live on a farm, but Will still does, and he's doing all the same things I was doing, except he has goats, of course, instead of pigs. I had pigs, and I was just like, he owns and runs the sheep just like I do, like I did. And so I'm like, Will, your challenge is to go and figure out what kind of vlogs we can do with the farm. Because I see these YouTubers, the Corn Star, John the Corn Star, I think his name is, or Paul the Corn Star. I don't remember the whole channel thing. He's fairly big on YouTube for a farmer, I guess. And he's got these videos where it's him in these thumbnails where it's him in front of his combine, or like talking about how much do farmers actually make, or how much does it actually take to be a farmer because you stay in front of a super expensive tractor. I don't remember what the actual name of the video was. See, that's going to be a challenge. There's a hole there. Which is interesting that that's there. That's either a coding mistake or but that's something they're just adding to the game. And actually, I have noticed the fields are much rougher. Like, I'll notice watching this that they'll actually bounce quite a bit. Well, anyways, back to what I was discussing. So I told Will, okay, your challenge is to come with vlogs, farm vlogs, that people would want to watch. Kind of like Farming Sim, but in real life. But obviously, we're in a very unique situation where we're not actually farming like this. We do, kind of. We have like a field of soybeans every year and a field of Sudan grass. We don't harvest the Sudan grass, obviously. The cattle eat it. But we just let them out into it like a secondary pasture. To give the normal pasture a break when it gets dry in late June and July. And so I told Will, I'm like, go and come up with some vlog ideas. Like, here's what you and my dad are going to be doing in the future. Like, here's when you're going to be making fence, or here's when you're going to be moving cattle, here's when you're going to be brake checking cattle, so on and so forth. That kind of stuff. I was like, your job is to go and make videos about them, or come up how you would do it. And I'm like, start practicing. Start just getting used to just having the video out. And you can film around school. I mean, you kind of go to a hick school. You're in the middle of nowhere, to be honest. Not really in the middle of nowhere. Compared to other places, we're nowhere near nowhere. But for around here, it's... For what most people would consider nowhere around here, it's nowhere. What I would consider nowhere is not here. Well, what I would consider nowhere is the middle of Cherry County, which, if you don't know, is the largest county in Nebraska. It's very sparsely populated. There is a town about not too far from where I live. that's got a population of 4,500 people. Cherry County has the same population. Okay, well, just give that into perspective. But the county is huge, like actually huge. Like you could take Lancaster County, Douglas County, Sarpy, and whatever is south of Lancaster. You could take the top 5 most populous counties in the state, fit them inside Cherry County with room to spare, and you would have probably 50% of the state's population. That's something about Nebraska. It's crazy. And that being said, I told Will, I'm like, this is a good idea. We could maybe come up with a good series off of this. So hopefully Will is working this week on coming up with some ideas. So, and this does have to do with farming, and so it's perfect to talk about on the Let's Play. Even though it is just me planting, unlike Moose, I'm actually able to talk about this. So, the reason why I kind of feel like I should explain the control panel a bit more. The reason why I need the control panel out is because I am used to console, specifically Nintendo Switch, which is a very neutered version of the full Farming Sim 17 experience. And then we never got 18. And so, I don't know the controls. I've literally had Farming Sim probably a few weeks already. 19 for a few weeks, and I've only been playing maybe not even that, maybe a week. And I was just excited to start playing, and then I got excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's almost time to start making Let's Plays, and so here I am making Let's Plays. And there's some interesting comments. I think Farming Sim, back to that realism aspect. Sorry, I need something to drink, but it's all upstairs, and I don't want to stop recording to go do that. But I think a lot of people want to see Farming Sim played realistically. So, like, I would be doing this planting right now. But I don't like doing the planting myself. I can't keep it in a straight line. It would take way longer. Yes, it'd be way cheaper, but it would take way longer, and I would have to probably refill the fertilizer. Actually, I would definitely have to refill the fertilizer. I'd have to definitely refill the seed several times over, and that's not conducive to having a fun time. And this circles back to how if you play it too realistically, it seems like work. And when it's not. It's a video game. Have fun with it. And I realize some people have fun playing super realistically, like Buck. Buck plays very realistically, and I've got nothing wrong with that. It's just I play video games to have fun, and I'm not even that big of a video game player. I play Minecraft, Farming Sim, and to be fair, Minecraft is like the only video game I've ever really played. Before that, I guess I played Survival Craft, which is something I want to actually do Let's Plays on in the future. But obviously, I would need to get the Minecraft series past the Ender Dragon, which this week I was hoping I'd have more stuff done for the next episode, but because of how little time I have, because it's 12:30 at night right now, 12:20 I guess. I just don't have time. I don't have time to do it. Not today. I just didn't have enough time. And I still have an assignment I need to be working on. Luckily, it's a group assignment, and so I don't actually have to get it all done. I told them I'd do the short answers, but I was going to get the short answers, and they looked like a bit of a challenge compared to normal. The one was literally like, the first question is literally, well, in your opinion, but it's how you justify your opinion is where he gives you points on that. Which, I don't know how he plans to grade that. Because the question is, which model that we studied in class do you think is the most accurate and the most viable? unless he's talking about something more specific, I'm going to say the solar growth model. And now it's time for economics with Dr. Sheep. So the solar growth model, trust me, I do not understand it that well. Okay, I'm actually going to fail this next test, which it's mostly over. The solar growth model it's labor, capital, labor, capital, savings? No. Maybe it's labor, capital, wages. Is that what it is? I don't remember. Anyways, there's three main variables. And the way these variables interact, and then it has a and then it has a well-defined way that these three variables interact with each other. And it goes from there to be like, okay, so these three variables interact with each other this way. But the solar growth model is you can add just about any number of variables you want, provided they modify capital, labor. I think it's savings. Maybe it's savings. I don't know. As long as it modifies one of the three variables in some way, or multiple variables, in ways. And so you can plug it in, like corruption, or the lack of stable institutions, which would be corruption, of course. Or just the lack of institutions, not from corruption, but just the country's so new, and there might not be a lot of corruption, but they just haven't gotten the chance to start these essential institutions. And so, wow, I'm sounding like an economist right now. Or my econ professor, I guess. And so you can plug these variables in, and you can begin to build this model of how an economy works, and how it should grow, and how everything plays, and how it's weighted. Which is fun. You do this with indexes, to be honest. Indexes do the same thing, which are fun. And I've talked about indexes many a times before on some podcasts that should never see the light of day, but I'm going to keep them out there because no shame, right? No shame. Even though there's lots of shame. Lots of it. So, where was I? Right. And so I have to justify why is the solar growth model better? And it's because of that modularity. Because it grows. Because you can adapt it to just about anything. And it can become very complicated and very detailed. But in reality, it's a very broad base set formula that you can work off of, which makes it very valuable. Which is why, in my opinion, the solar growth model is super useful compared to other models. And I don't remember what the other models are. I really don't remember them. Yeah, so that was literally the first question, and that was going to be my answer. He says there's no right answer, but the solar growth model, provided that's the models he's referring to, the solar growth model is actually the correct answer. It's going to be the easiest one to back up, anyways, because the other models are all older than the solar growth model. So if you use those, well, they're going to leave out new observations of how capital interacts, of how labor and capital interact with each other, and many other things. So that's why you should go with the solar growth model. And wow, I am boring people with economics, but we're farming here, okay? So farming is a business, and it's a business. It's a job. It's a way of life. And actually, as an economist, and I sit in classes all day, every day. And one of the things they've been talking about is the consolidation of farms, and I think Farming Sim kind of demonstrates that. Where you start off as this little farmer, which there's no such thing really anymore. Which there's becoming less and less of these little farmers. And you start off this little farmer, and you just grow. Obviously, the amount of crops you're able to do is much faster, and you can get much more consistent yields than any normal farmer can get. And you might even the prices might even not be that realistic, to be honest, that you get for these products. I don't think it got this. Turn on sower, lower sower, VB, and it's done. So now we can go here, switch to 120, go back. Wow, that was a lot of money. Holy cow. Well, to be fair, it was paying for seed and fertilizer, so fertilizer isn't cheap. Not at all. Fertilizer has never been cheap. So, it's always a guessing game. What's going to pop up first? The weeds? Or am I going to get weeds? Or am I going to get the plants? Or am I going to get the plants, then the weeds? Or weeds and plants at the same time? It's always a guess game. But I've got 2 tractors. So, we're going to assume weeds first and get the weeder in place. Or it's going to be plants and weeds. That's what I'm assuming. And then once it's weeded, we can go and wow, look how it bends. That should not be your design, but it is. Good. We can cover best of both worlds here. And now we just stand here and watch. And we're looking at this consolidation. It says 99%. Okay, that's why. Why? What? Am I missing a fertilizer state? Crop destruction. Crap. That's strange. Maybe once it pops up. But anyways, we're looking at these farms. We talk about farmers and how they're consolidating. And this game doesn't do the best job at signaling that, but it does show, like, this, you as a farmer can buy up all of the land in the area. All of it. Which, okay. Actually, I was wrong. The plants came up with no weeds. So now, in theory, it doesn't need what? It doesn't need fertilizer. That's strange. It should. It clearly doesn't. That's weird. That's not normal. But back to the consolidation. This game kind of shows that. But it does show it in how big some of his equipment is. Like the sower, it's huge. And like how massive the combine is, and like how fast it's able to harvest. It's incredible. And something crazy I've noticed is semis do not hold as much as I thought they did. And it's so weird because of how big the combine is. The combine can hold so much that it makes the auger wagon have to be massive, but trucks can only be so big. I guess in one of the mods, there's something called the grain train, which would allow you to get more grain. And those trucks have have numbers so crazy, like 600 horsepower. 600 horsepower. That's absurd in my opinion. And there's no trailer in my opinion that you can fill that will reasonably there's no trailer that you can fill that will reasonably like accommodate that large horsepower. Like you can't fill one up and it'll properly fill it out. These are white blows. My dad told me cotton. He grew a cotton plant one time. I've never seen cotton plants in real life, but he grew a cotton plant one time because he got cotton seeds from work. Because the university is studying. One of the studies they've done is cotton seeds in the diet of dairy cattle. So of course my dad grabbed some cotton seeds from the university and took them home and was like, let's grow one. And so we did. And he said they got purple blooms, but these are clearly white, so that's different. But whatever, different varieties of cotton. What can you do? Yeah, right. The consolidation of farmers, it's happening. This game, with how large some of the equipment can get, it demonstrates that. I love how this game, ever since like day one, has demonstrated this. It's demonstrated more sustainable forms of farming. And I remember somebody saying, "Oh, farmers always been sustainable." I'm like, no. It's like, cause like you need the soil. It's like, no. And he's like, "Oh, farming alone without legislation will be sustainable." I'm like, no, it won't. That professor is wrong. And farmers are wrong to assume that, because right now, I don't see people weed. People do not weed. It's not something that I've seen get done around here. It doesn't. No, everybody uses herbicide, and so. But weeding is more sustainable, and why is it more sustainable? Because weeds over time will become resistant to our herbicides, just like we're going to have bugs that become resistant to our antibiotics. We already have bugs that are resistant to our antibiotics, like MRSA. Yeah, not MERS. I was thinking, well, it's MRSA. Yeah, sorry, I'm thinking back to Dr. House. What is this helper doing? Okay, I think I'm figuring out what he's doing. What's it, a she? Oh yeah, it's this one. Clearly, I think, yeah, clearly has breasts, but their hair throws me off, and they're white. Weird. Whatever. Not gonna question it. Whatever. Don't really care. We're not here to judge what women can and can't wear, and what is the idea of femininity. So, not gonna go there. But I will criticize farmers for thinking they're sustainable, because they're not. Because imagine, just think about. I remember like farmers. Obviously, as the price of ammonia goes up, as the pricing measures, they're going to try and find more efficient ways to do that. But without proper legislation, farmers are not going to do that very quickly. That's the deal. Legislation does things quick. That's the point. The open market doesn't do things fast enough. And sometimes it can, because sometimes legislation is very slow. Don't get me wrong. Nebraska, for the most part, near as I can tell, has finally approved gambling. And this news anchor, oh my god, he was the funniest in the world, because when he was like going through and like giving the final like results for the night, or like somewhat final results for the night, he got to the gambling one. He's like, "Oh, we approved gambling, yay!" So he didn't say that, but it a similar attitude. It was just like, I clearly see where you stand. You clearly did not want it. Good for you. Like, he clearly didn't want it, so. Yeah, but legislation. But it's taken Nebraska years to get gambling back. Years. And I'm excited. I didn't vote. But that's if I was going to vote, the one thing on the ballot I would have voted for. That and Jeff Fortenberry. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bothered voting. And you can criticize me for what I was voting for. I didn't. That's what I was. This is very political. But farming makes me think, very economically, because it's business. It's not Minecraft. The closest thing in Minecraft that makes me think economically and politically is the villagers. But that's nothing compared to like an actual proper farming operation like this. And, I remember in kindergarten I was like, oh, I'm going to be a farmer. And I remember as I got older, I wanted to be an astronaut and a farmer. But I ended up scratching astronaut because I was too scared of heights. And to be honest, I wish I had continued with the astronaut idea. I don't know if I could have pushed myself through all the school years of all the years of engineering. I don't know if I've been smart enough, but maybe if I applied more, maybe I could have. Plus, I think I just have too many health problems in general as well. I wouldn't be able to do that. Now, nothing serious, but like in space, they're clearly serious because you want no health problems. Because you're in space, so. I want to be an astronaut or a farmer astronaut. One of the two. I want to be like the first farmer in space. And actually, speaking of astronauts, John Kelly, or Astronaut Kelly, is a senator of Arizona now. Congrats to him. I think it's really cool that we have a scientist. Because astronauts are scientists. For now, anyways. They're scientists. And I think it's cool that they have a scientist as the governor. And I think that'll put Arizona on the right path towards renewable energy, and that kind of stuff. Now, whether he's going to be very useful in the policy-making side of things, he'll know the science of things, but maybe he just won't know how to do the policy. And actually, Tex today asked me, he was like, can there be a Republican who knows... Tex, ironically, is very Republican. So can there be a Republican who is moderate, but knows a lot about economics, but at the same time knows how policies work and that kind of stuff? And I raised my hand, and he's like, why are you raising your hand? I'm like, that's me. I'm more or less moderate. I'm a Republican. I understand. He said the environment. That's what he wanted. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, somebody that understands the law and understands the environment, the science there. Like, I understand all of that because I study public policy. I study economics. And YouTube currently gets me into science. It's my science outlet. So it's all very useful in that regards. Very different video today. I'm going to let this guy finish, and I think I'll sign off. Very different style of video compared to the Let's Play. Where this, I'm literally just watching the guy weed. I don't need to necessarily intervene. I can just sit here and talk. Which, it's a little bit rambling, and maybe just a little bit boring. But, I mean, I don't know what normal FS19 players talk about. I know they talk about, alright, we gotta get this new truck. But they're referring to it in the game. I'm talking about real life stuff. But obviously, as this game progresses and as we make more money, it's going to take quite a bit. It's going to take a long time with cotton. It's going to take a long time. Luckily, though, we have quite a bit of money. We did, anyways. So getting like a third field shouldn't be too difficult. It's all about getting more fields. Once you get more fields, you start to stay more busy. And once you're busy, you just have a kind of a constant in-stream of revenue, which you can then, which then after your expenses, you get profit, which in turn you can turn into buying, which you then turn into capital to invest in new machinery, new assets, like more fields or, excuse me, another cotton picker. And I was and if you could afford the John Deere one off the bat, I would almost go with it, just because the round bales, in my opinion, are going to be easier to handle. They just are, in the way that they're designed. The round bales are easier to handle. And so that's a plus over the Case IH. Sorry, I was burping, so. I think that's just about gonna do it, to be honest. Anyways, I would like to thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. New Let's Plays every Tuesday, Thursday, 11 a.m. such time, and good night. What an episode, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed what you watched and you want to see what the series started, go check out the playlist. If you want to see more, and so you don't miss a single second, make sure you subscribe. Anyways, stick around for the next 20 seconds to give me that sweet watch time, and I'll see you guys in the next one.